What's up, guys? Martinique here with a new awesome PMAX checklist I just created. So we have the full build checklist here where I already had the feed only checklist. This is what we use to ensure super high quality all throughout our campaigns and all the clients that we're working for. I'm just gonna walk you through this and help you with the most important steps here because we see this going wrong so many times, guys. Campaigns are already messed up from the beginning, so they don't really have the opportunity to lift off and to get good, steady results in. So I'm just gonna move myself here and I'm gonna make myself a bit smaller. Yeah. So I'm just gonna walk you through. There, there will also be all the other campaign types I already covered in different videos. Make sure to check them out. Really helpful. Really helps us in a structured manner, setting up everything in the correct way. And also make sure to cover the account level checklist just to make sure that everything is set up correctly. So I'm going to cover the full build today. I'm going to start off with the general, then some settings and all the assets, of course, also extensions, some exclusions here and there, and also stuff regarding the product feed, of course, because shopping is going to be super, super important here. A bit on the remarketing and some other stuff regarding bidding, budget, and monitoring. So let's start off by ensuring a logical naming convention. Guys, just keep this simple. Just say country name, campaign type, and then what the specifics of that campaign are. For example, certain brand, certain category. I've seen the craziest things. You really don't need the bid strategy and the target in the campaign name. It just makes things messy. Use a script for your search terms. Install this beforehand. Ensure if all listing groups are filled. And also check your segmentation. Decide on this beforehand. So, what do you want to run campaigns for, and why would you make a choice of using just one campaign with consolidation, or maybe splitting them up in certain categories, brands, could be whatever. Add a catch-all shopping campaign. Let me just copy paste what I mentioned here, just for the sake of simplicity. Also split up your branded and non-branded if you want to. I've also mentioned this again somewhere else in this checklist. You really don't want branded volume messing up your non-branded volume here. Decide if you want to add all products and then check again if all of them are included. And before you start, make sure you know budgets, make sure you know targets, and you align them with your marketing department, just so there are no costly expenses made here. Decide on the conversion goals. What do you want to optimize for? Be very specific here. Just go with purchases for ecom, or maybe if you have like super low volume, you can always add a secondary conversion here. Do you want something with the customer acquisition function? You might want to increase bids for a certain type of customers. I personally prefer not to because it messes with the algo. Check your location targeting, decide who you want to target, but where they are, and add your presence instead of presence and interest. If you have a lot of volume, you can use presence and interest, but ensure to monitor your performance per location. Same for languages. Choose all of this beforehand. Start dates, end dates, URL expansion. You can also decide on this here. I added some resources here. I'm not going to go through them in detail right now because I want to keep this short and effective for you, because I know your time is valuable. Page feeds are super, super helpful. You basically tell Google, hey, here is a file and these are the URLs you can take. Just don't go beyond this file. Really can save you lots of headaches later. I personally like to use a location report, a URL report that pulls all the URLs with the impressions, costs, and conversions, so you know where PMAX spent your money. And that's super valuable if you want to do exclusions. Then for the assets, I now realized I used assets and extensions. I could have kept this in one, but I wanted to keep this structured overview. Decide on your asset groups. Sometimes we see that campaigns have like one asset group that just covers everything. That is rarely optimal. So let's say you would have different categories or maybe even different brands split up per campaign. Then it makes sense. You can use an asset group per campaign. But sometimes you might want to have different asset groups per campaign. So let's say you're selling a certain brand and that brand has specific product categories. You might want to make an asset group for each product category. So PMAX can then tailor your ads to what that person is looking for. I like to segment this by either brands or categories, but this is really case dependent. If you think that a certain product group is worth a specific headline, description, image, video, then just segment it. You can also see performance by asset group in my growth script. So make sure to monitor what that does for you. This all makes sense, but your headlines and descriptions should be complete. I added a file for you here. This is the way we create our ad content. Super helpful. This is like an example here, but it just gives you an idea of what you can use in your headlines. And you should have your USPs all clear here. So make sure they're added in your ad copy. Might want to add some images. I added the requirements from Google here. Not gonna cover this in detail. Also for the logo and your videos, if you want to add them, all of this beforehand, you don't want to find out you missed a certain asset or you didn't double check. Also find the requirements here. Really easy for you. You can just pass this on to your designer. Say, hey, I want to get some videos. Here are the requirements. Now, of course, we also have lots of extensions here. I covered them all. So your business name, site links, call outs, or snippet. Not going to go through this in detail, but again, use the ad copy help file to help you write them, because it can really give you some tips and some overview on how to approach this. And this is just something that you can check. Say, hey, okay, I did this, done. So you don't forget anything and you don't find out later that you missed a certain asset or a certain extension. That is just painful, guys. Certain beginning or end dates. Wanted to mention this specifically. You might have a certain promotion running. Work with beginning or end dates. You don't want to log in manually only to find out that you missed pausing a certain asset that was promoting something. Use beginning and end dates to keep the error rate low. Now, have we talked about what to include? Of course, we also want to cover what to exclude, like certain queries, irrelevant queries, competitor names, things you may have reached over the years in your exclusion lists. Just work with exclusion lists here, guys. It is just so simple and so easy. Really helps you keep this overview in your account. Add those exclusion lists to your campaign. You can also do this manually. You can also add search terms as negatives in PMAX. I like to use the modification form still just to add these lists to my account. So I have like a good overview of what's added to PMAX. Double check your exclusion list, triple check them. You might want to exclude certain products categories. We kind of covered this in the general and the settings part, but just double check what you included and what you excluded before pushing the button. Might want to add an audience signal. Of course, this is a pre-launch checklist, so I assume you're going to be using this to create a new campaign. Add an audience signal, guys. It really helps the system to pick up on your signals. It's not targeting, so Google will go beyond this audience. That's super important. PMAX remarketing doesn't exist. Don't listen to anyone saying to you that it is. You can add your remarketing lists here, but Google will go beyond them eventually. I like to start off with my own data, customer lists, and remarketing, like, for example, a certain type of website visitors, maybe one or two in market or affinity audiences, really case dependent, budget dependent, target dependent. Then for the ad schedule, do you want to show your ads always? I can imagine sometimes you might not want to run ads for a weekend. I can imagine a use case where that would be the case. Do this beforehand and don't find out on Monday that your ads served on Saturday, Sunday. Triple, quadruple, check your conversion tracking. Now, of course, we also have the shopping part. Be advised, I already covered this in the PMAX feed only. This is basically also for shopping, which you can find here. And it really covers all of this in detail. So I'm going to go and do this on a bit of a granular level, but please see the videos on shopping and feed only if you want those details. I have an audit file for you here, and I also have a GPT for you, which you can use to audit your shopping feed. GPT to audit your shopping feed. I'll just put the link here in a bit to audit your shopping feed. It's completely free, of course. Decide on the mandatory fields. Well, yeah, basically the audit file covers everything, and just ask the GPT whatever questions you have. It's trained on all of the specific fields, all the support docs, all the internal docs we have over here at Escrease. For the Google Merchant Center, there's lots of things you can check, guys. I'm going to take the most important ones here because I already covered this in the shopping and in the feed only video. Ensure to check it out. So just really do this. So also set up your dynamic remarketing and just check if you added the right add-ons. I still used programs here because that was for the previous version of Merchant Center. In Google Next, it's called add-ons. Google Merchant Center Next, sorry. Use a CSS partner whenever you're in the European region. In the European Union, there are really not that much reasons not to do so unless you spend less than $500 a month. Check your automatic alerts. Just ensure to really check all of these things and decide on if you want to use them. So automatic improvements can be really helpful. Product issues, check them regularly, set up alerts. This is pretty basic stuff, but it really should be set up in your Google Merchant Center. There are really not that much reasons not to turn on product protection. Then again, adult content, if you sell adult related stuff, of course. You can use promotions if you have some technical issues with getting the prices right in your feed for certain promotions, for example. Double, triple, quadruple check your feed schedule. And then also check your product ratings if you have them. I'll create a separate video on how to create a feed for that. You might want some additional feeds next to your primary feed. You can do so in, basically just here in the add-ons, in the advanced data source management, and then in Google Merchant Center. You can also check how those feeds relate to each other and if all the fields are accepted, for example. Not going to cover this. Check your shipping and returns. Also something to double check, because in most accounts that we audit, it's set up one time, then shipping changed and the world changed, and now it's all set up completely wrong. This is really important for your ranking, guys. You'll all find this stuff in the store quality. Check this as well. Google really has some helpful tips and some insights here for you. Also, how you relate to your competitors in terms of shipping rates, for example. Check this out. It's also important for your ranking in Google Shopping. And this one is a new one. Google can use your content to create ads. So let's say your newsletters, you might want to turn this off. I personally prefer to do so unless I see a good reason to allow it. Then for remarketing, this is another thing that's super important. Also in your dynamic display remarketing campaigns, you really want to get that dynamic remarketing right. I have a resource for this. I'll add the resource here. I have a video and a checklist on how to implement this. Your dynamic remarketing should really be set up correctly. You can find the match rates, and a match rate relates to the fact that your website fires certain events. So let's say a view item, and then in your data layer, you can take the ID from that product that was viewed. If your data layer is set up correctly, you can add that to the tag. Now, Google will share that ID together with the event. So it knows the product ID because that matches with your product feed, which you gave it through Google Merchant Center. And then it just takes that data. So it says, okay, I know that a person viewed an item and I also know which item that is. And now Google can use that to show that specific item in a remarketing campaign to someone. Super, super useful. This is valuable. You really need to do this. I'm going to link the resource right after recording, just so you have all this data in one place. For the bidding, this is super important. I'm not going to walk you through all the bid strategies that are out there. I'll do that in a different video. Just make sure you're bidding for the right thing. This is super. This is like the most important thing. And portfolio bid strategies actually don't work on PMAX yet. I should probably remove this and check if the target is realistic. I like to start with maximize conversions or maximize conversion value, depending on, well, yeah, the case basically. And from that point on, I work towards target CPA or target ROAS. Double, triple check the budgets. If you use maximize conversions or maximize conversion value without a ROAS, Google will spend your daily budget. Keep that in mind. For monitoring, I like to do a few specific things for PMAX. So I like the disapproved products script, which is also covered in shopping and PMAX feed only. It sends you an alert whenever your products were disapproved, like a certain threshold, for example. And I just use my growth script, well, yeah, basically for lots of monitoring. So I like to use it to see where PMAX spends my money, how much of it goes to shopping, how much goes to search, and how are results there, and what actions can or should I take from that. And I'll also add the landing page report here. Landing page report. Then I'll type this later. You don't have to see me watch me type something here. It's a report that just takes all the URLs PMAX served on together with impressions, clicks, conversions, blah, 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 just to give you an overview of where money went. All right, guys, that was it. I like blasted through this. Make a copy of this for yourself. I'm updating this regularly. I just updated the search part today, for example, and I also updated the account settings part. Super helpful. I really hope this will help you with working on your campaigns and ensuring consistent, good, perfect, awesome results. We at AdCrease, we work with senior specialists only. Everyone in our team has at least 5 years of in-depth experience. We also conduct free audits. If you have a campaign or a business that's just struggling to get this stuff right, I can imagine it can be super overwhelming. Shoot me a message and we'll talk about it. Really hope this will help you. Thank you.